We have two selves in our spiritual existence. The warrior self, who is enlightened, who understands that all reality of this world is a lie, it's a subterfuge, it's called Satan, it's called whatever, it's make-believe. So you have that side of you that you had just before you were born, but when you're here, you're compassionate, you're decent, you're kind, you're caring, you're true, you're very ephemeral, you're not really here. So our conditioning path, while arduous and terrible, ends at a certain point in the early 20s, maybe hopefully when you're 19, 26, 27 is where it really locks in. And you've adjusted the two sides of you, the conditioned side of being in the world, and because we're compassionate fellows and ladies, we're decent people, we let people get along and do whatever they're going to do. Not because we're weak or not because we don't want to change what's wrong in the world, but because in spiritual consciousness, we're not here. There is no here. We know that it is, again, a subterfuge. It's make-believe, all of it. Some people are able to, they say, like, play your cards close to the chest. In other words, great General Eisenhower was none of the other generals, or if you're familiar with him with any history at all, otherwise, why are we born? To not know the world we live in. We're supposed to understand it and comprehend it. So he played his cards close to the vest in every area of tactical, political awareness. And none of the, or very few of the other generals or general staff people would play cards with him, poker with him, because his poker face was so complete. He didn't react. You didn't show what's going on. As a spiritual person, you condition yourself not to let people know what you're thinking, feeling, not because you want to do good at the card table, but because you never want to hurt anyone. I'm trying to mix all this together. You can see humility, we're selfless as spiritual presences because on the other side, before we're born, we're part of infinity. And we do not have, there's no rough side to that nature. There are infinite realms of great meaning and depth and awareness and beauty and dignity that are, the only word I can ever use is infinite because it's more delicate, more precious, more wonderful, more kind, more dear. But these words don't touch it because it's something else in your consciousness as spiritual presences. It's something beautiful. They say the beatific vision, the vision of God. It's a whole other order of magnitude. It's a different dimension. It has nothing to this world. This is hell. The world is hell. So you'll condition yourself once you understand who and what you are, because you'll be taking a lot of head shots and body shots growing up. And every human being in the world is a victim. Every human being in the world is a victim. Every human being in the world is a victim. But there are good and evil people. A smaller percentage of us are spiritual and are good. The others are possessed forever, or maybe not even real people, which sounds, how can that be? Well, when you have this other order of magnitude of sensibilities, they're simply the shadows on the wall. You see that they're bad people, possessed, whatever you want to call it. But the energies that make you the body, that's nothingness. As a spiritual presence, you'll always feel lighter than air. You'll always just want to sit down because you feel so much presence all day, and you learn to hide it. I'm sure, a man like Albert Einstein was truly spiritual. He felt that all day, and you act out around people to get through the day-to-day. You play your cards close to the vest. You don't never let anyone else know what you're thinking. As an example, this week I'm trying to, friends want me to help with their business, and I know exactly how to add to each person, but they have to meet me in the middle as a spiritual presence and as a trusted friend for years. But then when this one's tempted, and then I go to talk to that one for that one. That one's tempted, and I give up. So they'll have to work it out on their own at the next game. Point is, you are very, very subtle as a spiritual person, and getting back to the original point, you're so humble It's a word we have to use. Please follow me with this, because on the other side, before birth, we are infinity. But the delicacy of that, it's not delicate, it's infinite. It's in coming here. You're not going to tell someone what to do or not, because that doesn't exist. It's not in your psyche. You really are humble and kind, and that's the problem with all spiritual people. We really care. We do not want to step on anyone else's toes, so we'll play our cards close to the vest. We learn this at a point. I'm begging you to learn this. Do not let anyone know what you think or feel. Just be very quiet and calm, because you can't. There is no interplay with the world. If someone once, like yesterday, I had a friend come who's truly, truly spiritual, so of course the heavens open up, and anything you could ever dream or imagine gets done in a space like that with a spiritual friend, a person. When you're really spiritual, it's a different consciousness, it's a different universe. It's not like taking some drug that makes you infinitely, really ecstatic. It's that, but without any confusion. There are no missteps. And all of it's, you engage to heal the other person's life and family and history. And it happens always. So if you're spiritual, you'll gather your senses together. You'll train yourself to think, to feel, to communicate. And at the same time, you're not really here. But when you run into someone who is spiritual, or you take your opportunity to be an instrument, a healer, a teacher, whatever you want to do, it's then you can open up the gifts a little more. You quiet your mind, quiet your heart, quiet your soul, quiet your presence, quiet your body. You quiet all perception. And every spiritual person in the world has the ability to do that now. And it's wonderful. And it's not just being quiet, you're aware of a sublime kind of poetry in the air, like the sense of a great artist. Combine that with that which really is God, and back to the beginning of this talk, that on the other side you have this warrior that can step in here, and that's your ultimate goal. You're going to step in here and you're going to end all the madness, all the morass, all the stupidity of the world. You will end it on your watch. That's why you're here. Forget all the history books, anything. All the spiritual books, forget them. That's why you're here. It's biblical. You are the holiness of eternity, incarnate, for a moment. Whether it's 70 years, 19 years, it's a moment. You will fulfill your destiny. That is written. It's written in your heart and soul. Your heart and soul are God. There's nothing weak about you, nothing indifferent. You care, but you're not here. So you'll enter into their lives, but always with a sense of sanctity towards them, even though they're lost. And sometimes, like my two buddies I'm dealing with recently, they're both completely spiritual and completely confused at the same time. So this dark force gets in a little bit on each of them, and I walk away, because in the end I'm not here to fix a business, or a family, or an individual. I am a warrior. You are a warrior. You're here to end all of it in this life. So you play your cards close to the vest, they say. In other words, you don't let anyone know what you're thinking or feeling. And this is a good, strong part of spirituality. You have a great confidence, but you only use it very delicately and only exactly when it's necessary. If you're like a great warrior, like my buddy Greg here is a 10th degree sculptor martial artist. That's his art, his school. And so you can fight him all day. His body awareness, I did jiu-jitsu with him, and it was a joke, because a world champion fighter has a body awareness that you you simply can't get near it, around it, through it. It's just a wall, but very quiet. So if someone's a great artist, every stroke means something. If you're a great mom, then everything you do for the child is the very best it can be. And you're the very best it can be in this lifetime. This time around, you will fulfill the holiness of eternity. It's going to come out from your chest, your heart, your soul. You're going to understand everything. You're not going to react to anything except when it's necessary. And when you're in contact with someone who's spiritual or circumstance or writes something or generates something spiritually, artistically, then you will approach and transcend that which is thought to be perfect. Because your heart, your soul, your mind, your body are perfect. We're all victimized coming into the world. That's what we're talking about, conditioning. You can remember being born. If you're spiritual, you will have these thoughts, these visions every day of your life. And if you sit down quietly and you recollect all of it, some of it, at different times, different moments, because it's all projected from like before you were born, you knew all of this. Can you believe that? But that's not important. That's such a minuscule, it's a particle of dust in a sandstorm. You're aware of infinity. Do you understand that? So we quiet ourselves, and you will know that, and you will understand that. You are that. You're not this. So at different stages of our life, we can let go of this confusion, the attractions with people and so forth, and you get very quiet, and you'll know that it's in Sanskrit Maya, which means the confusion, the illusion, the projections of the world. You drop it all. You don't relate to any of it. In the ancient Vedas, there are like they're high culture, spiritually speaking. The passages involve quietude of not relating to anything, to thoughts. You know all the projections of the world, and yet you're a yogi, yogini, whatever you are, a spiritual presence. And that means that you do play everything very close to the vest. You're going to be a healer, a teacher, a sannyasa, and you're going to be like a mendicant monk. You just survive somehow, and you can't explain to anyone how you do it. I've done it all my life, and I will never be able to explain anything, nor should I. Nor do I wish to, nor does that mean anything to me. I'm simply saying that God will guide your footsteps. Every heartbeat, you'll understand the why and the what, even when you're going through absolute hell, which I did for my two buddies this week, and it didn't work out. It will eventually, but that's a small aspect. It's like a mother raising children. You give everything. And you don't react to anything. You're just going to sit and handle it because you have to, because you love so greatly, right? We all have someone like that in our life. It could be our son, it could be our mother, it could be a true love in our heart. And if you're spiritual, you have God in your heart and soul every moment of every day. And when you understand how truly wonderful that is, then you don't have to react to anything. You'll transcend into the quiet. You are the quiet. It's an atmosphere, it's real. The body, this is not real. This is not you. It just simply isn't you. I remember seeing two yogis when my friend Amrita Desai's guru was going to speak after 12 years in his village in India, and they walked in out of the woods. They're like their movement, like Greg, they looked like world-class athletes, fighters. They would just walk in there very quickly to the ceremony, because the first time he spoke in 12 years. You had a couple thousand people from the villages around. when he was going to, and this not speaking, that means everything is controlled. You don't react, you don't need, you don't want, you don't desire. I talked about some Tibetan friends, or there were different individuals that would lock themselves in a cave, or little homes or huts that were built, and then the other monks or the community or their family would put something in through a certain little slot every now and then so they could eat, and they'd spend years alone, or the rest of their life once they're in a condition like that. And all I can say is that they're not crazy. They're the reason this is getting done. They're the reason you've made it this far in your life. They're in a place of infinite compassion, where they're living through the hells of this world, but they're generating this grace that we're talking about today, called spirituality, illumination, enlightenment. It's the divine vision, it's the vision of God. It's the vision of you. The beatific vision is you. You are God's vision. So you learn to play it close to the chest, understand that you're not guilty of anything. It's like guilty without wanting to be, and innocent without knowing. And very clearly today, let's understand we are innocent. So when you let go of all the conditioning, you'll be here again, because you'll see everything in the world is, you're inside this hell, this ridiculous soap bubble that is the world or the universe, or you'll have iron and metals, and no, it doesn't exist if you're spiritual. And somehow you'll guide yourself, God will guide you, you will be God on your feet, but these terms don't mean anything on the other side. It's unimaginable purity and wonder and beauty. And you are infinity every moment. You gave all of that up to be here. You are a holy personage. You're a great soul. You're good. You're true. You're real. You're free. You're invincible. So you play your cards close to the vest. You don't let anyone know what you're thinking or feeling, because something like dealing with these two friends, I was going through hell because they were generating satanic force at me, not even knowing they were, but I'm letting them go with it, and yet I'm intervening for them in their business life. But you're not going to spend a lot of time in that area, but you are going to spend 98% of your time in the spiritual area, trying to bring good friends who have spirituality in their life to this higher calling, to the sense of why we're here. The why, as explained, is to understand what this is about so we can communicate with it. For God to directly communicate with it would just end it all, because there's just infinite purity, and this is stupidity, and it's hell, and it's absurd, and I've never understood how anyone in the world could possibly believe this is real. I've never gotten that one. I still don't. The warrior in you is born to end all of this, but playing your cards close to the vest and being able to help and be here for people, and as a teacher, that's the beginning part of the mission, but the warrior is the end of it. This is done. There's only that. And that's why you're here, to end it all. That's enlightenment. Not you as one individual sitting on your meditation cushion and letting go of it all. That's no more real than yesterday's flowers. There's nothing wrong with you. You've been victimized from birth because you gave yourself to this cause. You are a sacrifice. You've sacrificed yourself to help. You were part of infinity. You were godness. Nothing else. And you recoup that. Once you understand these words, decondition yourself, stop reacting to all the things that happened, realize you were victimized. Anything you were set up in. When you did good or bad or indifferent. Because we're not a body in a place at a time. There is no time, there are no bodies, there's just the body of infinite, unimaginably pure and decent God, our Father and our friend. and our son and our fellow player in the game. We're here to understand it, realize we've been set up, we volunteered for the mission, decondition ourselves through whatever processes we can use, and let it go. And there'll be time no longer, and the mystery of God would be finished. It's finished on your watch because you're a good person, because you're decent, because you care. And you're very powerful underneath it all, aren't you? If you've withstood it to this point, and your mind's still on your shoulders, and your heart still cares, then you'll take out your weaponry that's spiritual entirely, and you'll end the horribleness around and about us. If you don't react to the social, political, anything, even family strife, would you get very quiet, and then close to the vest, meaning you'll play your hand when it's right, when you know it's going to work. Sometimes, like this week, I overextended myself because I cared so much, and I knew that if my wise counsel was adhered to or even heard, that they would help everyone. And so I had to step in and step out. And I guess that happened so I could discuss that today, because we all have that. Could be a family matter, business, whatever. You always see the right thing, don't you? And you've always seen the writing on the wall. I'm speaking to the deeper part of our nature right now. You've always seen the writing on the wall. In other words, this is over. This can't be. This is wrong. It's painful. It's a tragedy. And something deep within your gut wells up, the warrior. That knows this is the end time. Don't you? And it happens on your watch, through you understanding these words and remembering they're your words. It's your mission. It's your time. You will fulfill your spiritual mission. That there be no more pain. That the absurdity of this illusion will be ended through your wisdom. You walk quietly, with grace, with dignity, quite hidden from the world that seems to be, because it is evil intentionally and by nature. Bodies, things, places, times, all that, it's part of the illusion. But you're not. The desire in your heart, nothing illusory about that. You need all of this to end for any of it to end. If I'm going to help my friend's child or anything, it's going to be through everyone collectively gathering ourselves up and understanding the words of this empowerment session that we have together this morning. There is a God. You are God's projection into this world, and yet there's no difference between you and God when you're on the other side and you understand this entirely. All the thoughts of the world are illusory, that pertain to this world seeming to exist in any sense. You're good, you're kind, you're true, you're intelligent, God knows. In other words, because of all the confusion in the world, there's nothing you have to know or not know about this world. You simply have to have a pure heart. And then you'll have visitations, you'll have enlightenment experiences, whatever you want to call it. All these wonderful moments. Please understand who and what you are. And let's end the madness on our watch, because we can. There's nothing wrong with you. The whole thing is set up to confuse you and keep you a little off track, isn't it? Everything about it. So you quiet your senses, your heart, your thoughts, and you can make your mind completely quiet. It just takes practice. There are different methods of deconditioning yourself, and even if you're not familiar with them right now, this is a spiritual empowerment session. They'll hit you in the face, and the next time you take a walk on the streets or peruse your computer or whatever, it's there. You'll find a way. And you don't need a way outside of knowing who and what you are and your direct connection. And you have absolute power over the whole thing. I saw my buddy yesterday, and everything in his life, all the different family, that everyone, forgive everyone. The couple that are sticking the muds in the family, they're not real. And I helped my friend adjust to that. Got it. And so the bad parts in the middle of the body will be gone. They'll be excised, like a cancer. That has to be excised from the entire body politic, doesn't it? We all have a friend with cancer going through chemo or whatever, and you have to excise it that way, but you're going to have a miracle at the end of all this. You don't need man's medicine. You are the divine elixir, the holiness of God's soul incarnate. You will fulfill your mission. It's entirely spiritual. You'll understand these words of deconditioning, everything that happened from birth to now, and you'll have memories of other recent incarnations, because if you're here, you're on a trajectory to come to this moment. Your soul is God. They'll be at you more than ever. I'm laughing because I enjoy it. The warrior in me knows it's over for them. Not that I'm not insulted or shamed or this or that in subtle ways around, like people just do anything to hurt you, to harm you. It's extraordinary. So you quiet everything within you. My friend Dag Hammarskjöld was the Secretary General of the United Nations, and of course he was taken out physically, but he had this enlightenment experience all his life that no one knew, because he dealt with all the great, the dictators, the evil people of the world. And after his death, through a book he wrote, Markings, discovered that he understood all the words being said today quite clearly. And I don't want anyone else to go down in flames like Dag, like my friend Robert. Other friends that I've lost through the years, many. I'm not going to lose you. You're marked. You're mine. We're friends. Believe in yourself. Don't let them take little bites out of you day to day. And understand when they do, and then you will have ways and means to discorrupt them and charge them full with the charge of the soul. God bless your mission. I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Skolta. Thank you for listening.